Mafia Magazine Radio.
Sam,
Yeah, Mafia Magazine Radio.
how you doing, bro?
I'm good, baby. Hold on for a second. Let me set you up real quick. For all my listeners out there, man, I got the opportunity to sit down, man, with a newly acclaimed professional author, and this cat goes by the name of Brian Glaze Gibbs. And we're going to sit down with B for a little while. He's going to let us know, man, what it takes for him to make his book and what he's trying to bring out to the world from the book that he just created. So for all my listeners out there, stay locked in, baby. We was having a little technical problems tonight, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to bring this to you, man, like we always do. So, B, man, so how life treating you these days, baby?
You know what? Life is what we make it, man. One day at a time. It's great.
Yeah, no doubt. So tell everybody, man, where you originally from and how long you actually been doing your thing.
I'm original from this little small country you probably never heard of, Brooklyn, New York. Have you heard of Brooklyn, New York before?
Yeah, I've heard Brooklyn, New York before, baby, for sure. No.
Okay, so that's where I'm from, Bedford-Stuyvesant in East New York.
Okay. So let's get to it, man. You decided to write a book. And for those that don't know, man, the book is basically an autobiography of your life and some of the things that you've done. One of the first questions that I want to ask you is, how long was you thinking about actually writing a book on some of the things that have transpired throughout the course of your life?
Then once I was incarcerated. The federal government came, snatched us all up in 1988, over 35 of us. And I was on a run for 99 days before I finally got arrested. I had to be extradited from South Carolina back to New York. And even doing the whole process, like going through like 1,100 hours of wiretap tape where they got you for like drug conspiracy and murders and everything else. As time went on and you start getting into your bid, that's when I decided that I want to talk about my life. I want to tell it all.
Right. So let's pull this back and start from the beginning. This book is actually a book about the world that a lot of us come out of the 80s and the 90s. And I want you to basically begin with the people that you worked with and some of the things that you were doing with the people that you were working with.
At one point in time, I was like the enforcer. I was the muscle for Lorenzo Fat Cat Nichols.
Okay.
Fat Cat was the largest drug dealer on the eastern coast border. And it didn't matter, like whatever needed to be done, killing a witness, killing people that actually robbed the spot, or anybody that went against us. Whatever needed to be done, that was my task.
No doubt. So, I mean, what drove you to rather seek out that type of lifestyle? I mean, some of us are ball players, some of us are musicians, some of us, actually go to school for different academics. But you yourself, you chose a different path. So explain to us why the reasoning for the path that you chose.
You know what? When I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, to me, New York City is like Broadway. Light, camera, action.
Right.
So what happens is you get caught up into that role. You want to be down. You want to be accepted. You watch all the guys that's older than you. They fly, got the big fancy cars, got all the girls, all the money, jewelry. So you want to be like them. You want to be down. And to me, like, you want to take the shortcut. And that's what I did. I took the shortcut and got caught up into the infamous follow leader game.
Right. And which is a little different than a lot of other folks, man, because you actually come from a great background. You actually come from a great upbringing. So, I've just found out about you myself that, you dug sports, you dug baseball, and you loved to play baseball, and you was You was pretty good at it. So, you know, we really trying to figure out how you left those dreams and jumped over to wanting to be per se down in the neighborhood. How you wanted all of the attributes that came with that lifestyle of drug dealing.
You know, Sam, it's no different than we watch TV, or we see a movie, or we look at the rap video. It's like monkey see, monkey do.
Right.
Yes, I want to be at one point in time a baseball player. Was I good enough? Who knows? I don't think so, but that was my dream.
Right.
Once you was not able to realize that dream, you want something. You want that immediate attention. You want that immediate fame. So you get caught up into all of the wrong things.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. Like, whatever it takes for your name to ring bell, you're going to do that.
Right.
If you rob, you steal, you burglarize, you sell drugs, whatever it takes to get recognition, to get fast cash, to dress to impress, you do that.
Right. Right. And so I want to know, when you decided to write this book, what was the reasoning for you to write this book? You know, everybody has a reason on why they do what they do. And my curiosity is, what was your reasoning for not only writing the book, but putting out all of the information that you did put out when you wrote this book? Give us the reasoning on the reasoning for you writing the book.
My reason for writing the book was coming clean. My reason for writing the book is I want to stop the epidemic. I want to stop our kids, our future, from getting caught up into that multi-billion-dollar prison system.
Okay.
Everybody's picking up the brick, throwing at the prison wall. For what? What are we doing? We are wasting valuable time out of our life, falling asleep, falling in love with the street, and the only thing going to happen is you're going to die on the street or you're going to jail for the rest of your life.
Right. Right. And so basically it sounds like you came to a point in your life where you wanted to seek some redemption in some shape, form, or fashion. Am I correct?
Yes, you are. You're very correct.
Okay.
You're right. I wanted redemption. Why? Because I woke up and realized that all the shit that I got caught up into, you start realizing I was brought up in church. So a lot of stuff that I got caught up into was kind of contradicting from my original teaching and upbringing.
Right.
And I allowed myself to be like that lost sheep, and I went astray.
Right. Right. And through all of your transgressions, living the life that you lived, I want to know, do you have any remorse for some of the things that you've done in life?
As far as remorse, at the age of 51, I have plenty of remorse. I wish I can turn back the hands of time and bring the people that I was once directly and indirectly responsible for their death. I wish I can bring them back. I wish I can find the time to go to each victim's family members and apologize, and hoping that they accept my apology.
Right.
It's like you say, when you look back on everything as a whole and you realize, like, it took the death of my very own mother to make me realize what I put the victim and the victim family through. When she passed away and I was incarcerated and they didn't let me go to a funeral, they didn't let me go to a wake, it's like a rude awakening, like the pain, the suffering that I was feeling.
Right.
It helped me to realize the shit that I took these victims and their family through.
Right.
And you know what, Sam? I don't care what anybody say. You wouldn't want to wish that on your worst enemy.
Right. Right. And I know a lot of, I don't know for sure, but I want you to give me a little bit about how you felt, man, when your mom figured out some of the things that you was doing in the street, and how that made you feel, because you put all of this in the book. And for those that's out there listening, y'all got to go get the book to understand how this man felt about the different things that he did, and having his mom find out about it. But I want you to tell a story, man, about how it made you feel and what you felt about when you and her spoke about it. You know, if you had an opportunity to speak with her about it, about the feelings that you had, man, about once your mom figured out some of the things that you was doing.
You know what? Mother always know. You know, to me, like I try to explain to people, I was a mother boy. I was a professional mama boy. And, you know you're doing wrong, and my mother used to, ask questions, or she used to hear things on the street, and she used to confront me with these questions. I heard you out there doing this, or are you doing that? You know, you selling drugs, you robbing, you stealing, your name came up in this person, homicide. You know, me, mom, it wasn't me. I used to always lie to my mother. And then, with mothers, they always want to give their kids the benefit of the doubt. And as I got caught up into, like crimes and start getting arrested and start going to jail, and then it start coming out on the news and in the newspaper or in different articles, then reality set in. I remember at one point in time how she was at work, and one of the ladies at her job, questioned her, say, Dorothy, this boy in the newspaper, he had the same last name as you, and he's responsible for killing all these people. Is he related to you? And her response was, who knows? He might be my son.
Right.
And everybody laughed, not knowing that I was a son.
Right. You was the real deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you know what? Like I told you, to me, it's embarrassing because of the pain and the suffering that you cause, your loved one. And that's what people do not understand. Like, as I sit back and think about it, and I'm able to realize that, and that's what I want the audience, that's what I want people that read my book to understand. Before you do anything in life, ask yourself the critical question: is it going to bring me pain, or is it going to bring me pleasure? If it's going to bring you pain, it's not just you.
Right.
It's your mother, it's your father, it's your grandparents, your brother, your sister. If you marry, it's your wife, it's your kids. You know what? If it's going to bring you pain, you got to look at everybody else that's going to suffer along with you.
Right. And you expounded a lot of that in the book. And like I said, we don't want to give the book away because we want those to go out there. We want you to cop the book. It's an excellent book. But I'm going to continue on asking you little different questions, man, that actually tease a person to want to know more, as to give them a reason to go purchase the book. So one of the things that I don't know, maybe a lot of people want to know about is, did it come a time where you had to actually speak to some of the people that you was involved with before you took a deal? Because a lot of people don't know that a deal was in place for you, and I want you to kind of expand upon what that deal was. And you don't got to get into details, but just tell us a little bit about the deal and what you had to do to actually speak to the other people before you made this deal.
You know what? What wound up happening was the fact that you, like I explained earlier, at one point in time, I felt witnesses. Anybody that's going to be a snitch, that's going to cooperate, guess what? We took care of them. Why? Because a dead man or woman won't tell no tale. What happened is, you believe in something so strongly, death before dishonor. Don't talk that talk if you can't walk that walk. At the end of the day, when you incarcerated and you more or less know that the life that you once knew was totally over with, everything was totally darkness. The cage was cold, more or less caging in on you. And I remember having a meeting with me, Fat Cat, and Pappy. And during that meeting, as we talking, I came up with the idea. I said, look, we are done. They want you, Cat. They want Pappy. They want John, the Chinese guy, our connection. And they want me. I'm like, look, let everybody in our group, because mostly it was my half-brother country, Cat, mother, Pappy, mother, they nieces, and everybody else. I'm like, let them cooperate against us and let them go home. We're going to get life.
Right.
Cat looked me in my eyes and told me, look, why don't you go to trial first? and let's see what they got against you, then I go to trial. And I'm like, nigga, what are you talking about? You already got life. I don't got life. What are you talking about?
Right.
And that moment in itself, it helped me to realize that I was more loyal, more dedicated, more in love with him and his cause than he was in love with me and my cause.
Right.
And that was the change. That was the difference. And it helped me to realize, like, what are you doing?
Right.
You about to sacrifice and spend the rest of your life in jail for what?
Right. Right. Especially for somebody that don't feel the same way you're feeling. You know, for somebody that's not looking at it the way that you're looking at it. They're willing, this same person sounds to me is like they willing to sacrifice everything and everybody, you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason that person has in their mind, that's that person. You know, we're not here, I'm not here to judge that person, you know what I'm saying, or try to speak on the mindset of what that person is going through at that time. So, but because of that, that came to a point to where you had to make a choice. And your choice was to either take the full brunt of all that the government and all that the city had that they wanted to give you, or possibly going into witness protection. So you tell the choice that you made.
Hey, you know, it was, you're right, either spend the rest of my life in jail on medication in my cell, drinking water out the toilet bowl while taking my medication, going blah, blah, blah out of my mind, or, you know, door number one or door number two.
Right.
And to me, when you sit back and analyze it, and when you sit back and think about it, you know, reality set in. Because at one point in time, I was walking around with a death wish. I didn't care. You know, whatever happened, happened. You know, at one point in time, just before I got back to MCC, New York, what wound up happening, they had an earthquake, and the building shook. And when the building shook, I was saying to myself, you know what? I don't care if that whole building come crumbling down.
Right.
Because at that point in time, I knew I was never getting back out. I knew I was going to die in jail.
Right. So you chose to go into witness protection. And like I said, I don't know what your choice, I don't know what your reasoning was. And for those that want to know, I suggest once again that they go and they purchase the book to figure all that out. But my next question to you is, once you made that choice, was there any time that you was afraid that someone may, two-part question, one, judge you for the choice that you made, and two, find out the identity of you and try to handle things the way they think that you should be handled?
Sam, those are good questions. Number one, when I made the deal, it was hard initially. I remember being in the hole in Otisville, and it came out in the newspaper. Henchman was seen for the feds, and I had a picture of me and Pappy, April 13, 1989. And you talking about I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. And, you know, because I'm beating myself up about that. I'm like this, death before dishonor. I would never go against the grain.
Right.
Snitches get stitches. And now I became a snitch. I cooperate with the United States government. I made a deal. And, you know, I think I was like, you know, it was like vomiting. And opposed to you spitting in the commode, it's like you swallowing. And that's gross.
Right.
But that's what I was going through at that present time.
Right.
But as time went on, it's like number one, I never worry about, like, even now, like, I go back to New York now. People see me. I see people. And the key is, don't get me wrong, when I go back, so much things have changed. I'm not looking to get caught up into any negativity. I remember one year I went back and I flew in LaGuardia Airport at a hotel in Queens. And the person that's supposed to pick me up from the airport was late, got caught up in traffic. So I wound up taking a cab to the train to the plane and got off at Euclid Avenue train station. But as I'm coming in, I made a few phone calls. And as I got to Euclid Avenue train station, I had a few, the old guys met up with me.
Right.
And as soon as they met up with me at the train station or whatever, I got a suit, tie on, got my garment bag or whatever. And right now they said, look, man, this guy's home. And we know he's popping shit that when he came home, what he's going to do, this and that. You up here, we going to, and we're going to shoot him in the face right now. And to me, hold up, time out. Listen, we're not going to do that. If I let you go do that right now, that means I'm still that same individual.
Right.
And I'm not. That means I haven't changed.
Right.
If we out and about and he approach us and he starts shooting, then we defend ourselves, then that's something totally different. But if I didn't lose y'all guys back then, why the hell you think I want to lose you now?
Right. No question. And
another point to that is this. Even when I cooperate, it was like everybody, like, people used to, oh man, what's going to happen to him? What's going to happen to his family? What people fail to realize is, at the time when I cooperate, I was the muscle. My guys were still out there. My guys were still in place. My guys were still loyal to me. So Eminem, Money and Murder, was still in place.
Right.
So what Cap was going to do? He was going to get me on me?
Right. No doubt. And so here's a very important question. With all that being said, and you kind of answered it, but I want to put it to you plain and simple, to where there's no mistake about what your answer would be. Would you or could you ever kill again?
Wow, that's a hell of a question. Would I? Could I? Would I? No. Could I? Yes. I always say to myself, like, when I knew I got closer to being released, I was scared. For the first time in my life, I was afraid. When I knew I was going to be released.
Right.
And what I was afraid of, because the fact is, if something was to happen, I would have to be like every other law-abiding citizen and pick up the phone and call the cops. And to me, by having that thought process, I knew I changed.
Right.
But as you asked that question, as far as like me killing again, no, I couldn't. Like, the only way that would happen if somebody would have violated my loved ones.
Right. So with that being said, that it and some people may not believe it. Some people do believe what you're saying, and some people may not believe what you're saying. My next question to you is, it sounds to me as if now you have grown a conscience to where at one time you did not have a conscience. So explain to my listeners on what that development process is. How you at one point did not have a conscience, and now hearing you answer the question the way that you did answer the question, how did you now gain a conscience?
Okay. San, I have to be totally honest with you. You know me how long?
Damn near 35 years, baby. Maybe longer than that.
Okay, I owe you because you still beat me up and robbed me and took my coat. I want my coat back.
Easy, baby. Easy.
I always had a conscience.
Okay.
I was a church kid. I grew up in the church. I knew right from wrong. I always had a big heart. And you always have a conscience. Right. I want everybody to understand this. To me, don't get me wrong, there was plenty of things that I wound up squashing. There was plenty of times that people supposed to got killed, got hit, got hurt, that I stopped. Because always the rhyme and reason game. Does it make sense? Sometimes when guys used to get in a beef, I used to go to them, hold on, wait a minute, what's going to happen? If you kill him, he's dead, you got 25 to life, who's the winner? It's no winner. Y'all both lost.
Right.
So to me, I always had a conscience, but it's a situation, all depends upon what took place that overruled everything.
Right. And like I said, I know you a long time, baby. And for those of my listeners that's out there, you know what I'm saying? This is someone that I know. This is someone that I watch move in certain ways because of the stigmatic environment that we were brought up in. And because we're where we from, there's some things that went that was not talked about but everybody knew. You know what I'm saying? And so one of the personal questions that's in my head right now is, you speak about some things in your book, and like I said, I'm not going to divulge the things that's in the book, because anybody that wants to know what's in the book needs to go out and purchase the book. But I want to know, from a personal question from me to you, is, why do you think that you were spared? Why do you think that your life was not taken away from you because of the many things that you have done in your life? Can you answer that question for me?
You know what I'm saying? That's a hell of a question. And approximately about, I don't know, like 9 years ago, I was living in Colorado, and we had death in the family, and I wound up flying to South Carolina, and I can remember having that conversation with my brother and my sister, and I told them, I said, you know what? To me, how I felt that our mother sacrificed her life for my freedom. Like, she asked God, what is going to take for my son to get his life together? What is going to take from him to become the kid or the man, the boy that I raised? And I felt she sacrificed her life for that. And honestly speaking, Sam, when I walked out of jail on July 28th, 1997, I wasn't looking back. When I first got out, new identity, met up with the probation officer, United States probation officer, met up with the U.S. Marshal. And like I told him from day one, I don't care if I have to go around in every garbage can throughout the parks, throughout, the community, and collect aluminum cans. I know within a 12-month period, I can collect 1 million cans. 1 million cans times 5 cents, $50,000.
Right.
I know I would do that before I go back to jail.
Right.
And honestly, they didn't believe that.
Right.
Until time went on, and they see that I had a job. I was going to school. I got another job, and they see that I was growing. Whereas when I first came home, the U.S. Marshal gave me 45 days to survive. The United States probation officer gave me 90 days to survive. And as time went on, even up until the day, they said, you know what? You became a poster child because the art was against you. And guess what? You excel. Right. You beat the art. And San, where we come from, when the gun is pointed to our head, when the odds are against us, we don't have other choice but to excel.
Right.
We refuse to fail.
Right. No doubt. And so here's another thing. Let me just say this to you. You've done a lot of different things, and let me just be real about it. You've killed people. You've killed people that we know. You've killed people that we've grown up with. You've taken life away from different people, and I want to know, what would you have to say to those people's family members?
That I'm genuinely sorry, that I wish I could turn back the hands of time. I wish I knew then what I know now. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want something. I always wanted something. I wanted a power structure that was so strong that nothing could penetrate to it. And what happened is, when you get that power, and you get that control, and stuff's happening based upon your doing or your direction. It got to the point in time, Sam, after I was in South Carolina and I call a hit. Within 12 hours after I call a hit, you know what? These people was dead. And honestly speaking, when I got back, I cried. I met up with a couple of guys, and I went to see Ted, and I cried. I said, I don't want to do this no more. Mm-hmm. Who am I to say who live and who die? I'm not God.
Right.
I'm not God.
Right. And you definitely expand upon that in the book. Once again, like I said, for those that want to actually know the full story, go purchase the book. You know what I'm saying? But you've also spoke on something that I think I should cover here in this interview, and it's basically you got a part in your book. I'm going to call it prison reform. You know what I'm saying? And with that prison reform, I want you to speak on how you think that life could be better for those that have chosen the wrong path after their incarceration. What should be done in the penal system to actually change the mindset of those that have chosen the wrong path?
That's a difficult question, Sam, because to me, change comes from within. And it doesn't matter what you have to offer to people in prison. If they want to change, they're going to change. If they don't want to change, they're not going to change. And it comes from within. And to me, it's like, I don't care what they put in place, the college, the gym equipment, the ceramic program, whatever program they put in place. If I me myself want to be a hard stone criminal, nothing can change that. And it got to come from within. That each and every individual have to want to change. That's the only way change can come about.
Right. And now that leads me to my next question. And my next question is, what are you going to do about change now? What are some of the things and the ideas that you have now that you feel like you may be able to contribute to the world now, from the experiences that you've been through in your transgression?
And I kind of touched base on that earlier in regards to critical thinking. Something that needs to be done for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Whereas before any individual in a rightful state of mind do anything, ask yourself this question. If I do this, is it going to bring me pain or is it going to bring me pleasure? If it's going to bring you pain, who is going to bring pain to? Not just you. You can't be selfish. You got to think about all your loved ones. If it's going to bring me pleasure, then guess what? That's the right thing to do. Because guess what? Everybody from your mother, your father, your grandparents, your wife, your kids, they going to gloat about it. They going to brag about it. They going to more or less like share the good, word about it. Like when I was in the street and my name used to come up, rumors, I killed this person, I robbed this person, I was selling drugs over here. Guess what? That wasn't something that my mother, my brother, my sister, my aunts, my cousin was going around bragging about.
Right.
They wasn't bragging about that. That was nothing for them to look up to.
Right. And no doubt, baby. So I'm curious if you ever thought about this. The same way and the same power that you had when you were doing these evil deeds, you were able to recruit different people to the lifestyle that you was in at that time. Now my question to you is, do you put in that same energy to be able to recruit people to go down a different path that you're doing today?
Each and every opportunity that I get a chance to talk to, young guys, anybody that's at risk, especially at work, that's what I do. Coach, counsel, train, indirectly, directly. Even now, like I have done several speaking engagements in regards to that. It's like my life is an open book. And my objective at this present time is how do we prevent these individuals from constantly picking up the brick, thrown at the prison wall for absolutely nothing.
Right.
The key is when you get caught up into the street, whether you're a stick-up kid, whether you're a drug dealer, whether you're a burglar, whatever, it doesn't matter, whether you're a pickpocket. When you get caught up into that and you invested time, energy, and years, guess what? It's no retirement program. It's no 401k plan. It's no Social Security. It's nothing. Either you're gonna more or less right now and strike it rich, or guess what? You're gonna wind up with nothing. So you just wasted time out of your life that you can't get back, all because of what? Because you wasn't doing critical thinking, or because of you want to be down, you want to be accepted by the majority. And as soon as you leave, guess what happened? There's somebody else waiting to take your place.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. For all my listeners out there, man, y'all got to hear it first right here on Mafia Magazine Radio. I'm sitting with my cat, Brian Glaze Gibbs. He's telling the story about an autobiographical book that he's written. He wants you to go out and purchase this book, not only for purchasing the book of knowing what's in the book, but also purchasing the book to possibly change your thinking about everyday life, about that lifestyle that has taken away millions. I'm not talking hundreds, I'm not talking thousands, I'm talking about millions of my black brothers and sisters, man, away from, their loved ones because of a choice that they made when they were children and they didn't have an opportunity to grow into a productive woman or man. So, coming from me, let me just say this, and I didn't say this before. This is the first you're probably going to hear about this, Glaze. But I was getting a lot of different feedback from when I said that I was going to interview you, and we was actually interviewing you about the book that you have written. I was getting feedback. I was getting negative feedback about why would I support someone who has taken lives of others, and I'm not the judge or jury. I'm just somebody here to bring forth to the masses this man's story. You know what I'm saying? And we all talk about every day about forgiveness, and my response to the negative feedback that I was getting was, how can I, as a man, be able to deny another man his dream of redemption? You understand? So I just want to let all my listeners know, we don't choose sides around this camp. What we do is we're a media outlet and we bring forth the truth. And so before we go, baby, I want you to shout out and plug everything and everybody, man, that's gave you the opportunity to be in this place to where you are today.
You know what, Sam? First of all, I want to, especially, shout out to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But besides that, my late mother, my family, I remember like we haven't heard from each other in years. Right. And I ran into you approximately 5 to 6 years ago at Cypress Day. Mm-hmm. And during a conversation that we had, you asked me, what I'm trying to do. I told you I'm trying to get my life story. I want to get in the speaking engagement. I want to help the youth. I want to be able to get back. I want to be able to, during Cypress Day, have like a, drive, giving away book bags with, school supplies, gift cards for school clothes. Right. Those are things that we spoke about way back when. Right. But it's like to that point in time now, like slowly but surely, everything seemed to be coming together. Right. And to me, that's a blessing in disguise. And like my message to folks is, let he or she who have not sinned cast the first stone. Yeah. If you sit back and think about all the great folks in the Bible, they have sinned. But yet in still regards to what? They had asked for forgiveness, and guess what? Redemption was given. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference. No. It's like anyone can change. And trust me, I walked out of there July 28th, 1997. This is now, August 30th, 2015. And I never went back. I never looked back. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm a taxpayer. And, it's like right now, I just went astray. I was that lost sheep that went astray, that found myself before it became extremely too late. Mm-hmm. Like before I became like a, Tut. I love Tut. I miss Tut. Tut got life. Never murdered anybody. Right. So you sit back and you think about that. You look at different individuals that we know that spent like over 30 years in jail, just came home. So what's the difference between me and them? Right. Even when I look at all the time I've been shot at, Sam, mm-hmm. What's the difference? Why was my life spared? Right. Why did God see too. Like, I know if I would have got shot in my toe, my finger, I probably would have died.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I appreciate the opportunity, and I want the viewers to know, go to www.amazon.com or www.IamNoAngel.biz.
Mm-hmm.
IamNoAngel.biz.
No doubt. And I want to give a shout out to once to expand upon what you were just talking about. You know, when me and you sat down and we had that conversation about what you was doing, what you wanted to do, and how we was going to get that done. You know, I kind of jumped in, and I want to give a big shout out to Poop Todd Elliott, who was one of the brothers that helped get the process started. And going back to you, man, I just want to say, man, that may you always be blessed in all the things that you do in life, and also may you always prosper in all that you do in life. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, my brother.
No doubt, baby. Hey, yo, Glaze. Brian Glaze Gibbs, man, let me just say this to you, man. May you always find peace in all the things that you do in life. You heard?
Hey, thank you, San. I appreciate the opportunity. And before we leave, give me my coat back.
Hey, peace, my brother. Peace.
Peace, my brother.